Andy, pleasure to have you here at
Thank you.
Fishburners. Welcome. I understand that you're a brand new Fishburners member.
I am, yeah, joined last week.
Fantastic. It's always good to have founders and CEOs joining us, but the more exciting thing for me is we've got another PropTech. So what I mean by PropTech is in property, there's so many different ways to make money. But at the end of the day, when things are shifting to more tools like AI, like using like a spell checker, but for the property industry, real estate becomes a lot more congruent, a lot more visible, a lot more transparent, and in some way, a little bit more predictable. I say that with a question mark because predictability is something that is that golden goose, where as soon as you've got predictability, you've got money coming in, day out. I'd love to hear about what you're doing, Andy, and I'm very excited about you being a new prop tech in our industry.
Yeah.
Please tell me about it.
Yeah, sure. So we are building a platform called Wavie. We're empowering homeowners to sell their property without the need of an agent. So we're not trying to say that we're never going to need agents. We're always going to be needing agents. There's a more and more growing market now, especially under the millennials, where they want to try and sell their house themselves. So what we're doing is we're taking all of these prop techs and things that are available to agents, and we're giving them directly to the consumer. So just taking out that middleman. We know it's not going to be for everybody, but we're just empowering those people to use the tools that want to have a go themselves. Some people want to sell their car themselves on Facebook Marketplace. We want to do the same for a house.
Well, you know what really interested me in this kind of thing is one of my pet peeves is when somebody with a goal and a wish, they know that part of Maslow's pyramid of needs is going to be shelter. They know eventually they're going to move out of their parents' house and live in a rental property or live in a house they own or live in a unit. If they go to a property spruiker and they end up spending money on a course, and the course gives them an idea but no property, then they come back for a free event that's a 3-hour event or a weekend event. Then they spend another $50 or $100, or it's usually $199 reduced from $10,000.
Yeah.
But they end up going to this free event or almost free. At the end of their research, they've spent a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the property values have gone up. They're left with a book that tells them how to do something. Or even worse, they've been convinced from stage to sign up to something that the spruiker on stage has crafted from using free, really the stuff on the market that's free for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So using realestate.com.au and domain.com.au that already breaks down who are the top agents that are selling in a suburb. It breaks down how the suburb statistics are. And the spruiker on stage has gone, you know what? Just invest in this education program and this weekend away, and bring your wife, bring your husband, because the two of you together, you need to be there to make the big decision. So they end up spending a day, even if it's 3 hours. If they're retired or if they're unemployed, then yes, okay, they're spending their time. But if they're taking away from something they're really passionate about, and you can tell I'm passionate about real estate, imagine if you had a brain surgeon or somebody working to fight cancer. They take the time off on what they're good at, what they're passionate about, and what they're leading the world on to learn how to use a computer. Because that's all it is. How does your product differ from, say, what realestate.com.au or domain.com.au can give you as a report? Because now you can extract that into a CSV, which is, it just feeds into your, what's the Apple product? Apple
I don't use
numbers.
Apple, I'm not sure.
That's right, Apple's numbers or Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, or Google Sheets. Or
Google Sheets, right?
Yeah.
So if the internet already lets you extract to a file that you can see on an Apple device, on your mobile device, on Google Sheets, why do you need to spend 3 hours on the Gold Coast or 3 hours in Melbourne or 3 hours in Sydney to learn and pay for a subscription to something that doesn't give you a property? It just gives you how to use the free thing. It honestly drives me nuts.
Yeah, no, you don't. It's like a pyramid scheme, isn't it? It's
I didn't say that, and you said that.
you know, it's salesmen trying to make money. At the end of the day, I think those spook things. With Wavie, we're different. We're pulling things off of REA and domain, but we're not charging for that. What we're doing is we're educating people how to do something themselves, and we're not charging for that education. All we're charging for is the listing or the conveyancing or the photography, just like a real estate agent would with their marketing fees. So we're not actually charging for that education. There is a freemium version where you get all of that education for free. And if, the for sale by owner models, they can all do that themselves and just, pay the $900 and get advertised on REA, if that's what they want to do. But we're giving them the end-to-end product where you don't have to kind of worry about too much yourself.
So Andy, if you've got somebody who's just finished a 12-week course through a property guru, and now they've got a subscription to, let's say, RP Data, CoreLogic.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a subscription to Stash. They've got a subscription to Price Finder. They've got a subscription to SQM. What's another one?
PropTech.
PropTech.
Yeah.
So all of these give you numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They give you hypotheticals. That in history, that suburb's grown by this much. Your next street, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom sold for this amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't actually buy you a house. It doesn't sell your house. How is your property website, portal, and app different from somebody saying, okay, so from my research, I know I should sell at 1.47 million. I don't trust somebody I haven't met before with that much of my money. How do I do it myself as a either done by you, done with you, or done for you model? You said freemium, which translates to free plus a little bit.
Yeah, so the freemium model, for instance, is you can list your property on Wavie. You get the AI enhancement for the photos. We tell you how to take your photographs, how you market, things like that. Obviously, you have to pay for things that we have to pay for, like real estate domain, conveyancing.com, and so forth. But the way we see it is agents at the moment aren't that well trusted in the industry or in the country. Whether we're giving you the tools that an agent has, or whether you're going through an agent, it's completely up to you. If you want to go through an agent, go through an agent. We're not trying to replace them. We just want to finally be that alternative choice for somebody. When it comes to the valuations, we can give the valuations from all the data we're pulling from Property Track or CoreLogic. We can only give you that information. We can't tell you this is how much you're going to get for your property. We can give you the information that we have and the information that real estate agents have. Let's be honest. An agent can't say to you, I can guarantee I'm going to sell you a property for this much. They can't. They just can't do it. So we'll give you that information. If you want to have a professional valuation, you can do that too through the platform. And it's just about empowering people to make those decisions themselves rather than having potentially a salesman telling them where to go because they think they could get more out of it. People want to do things themselves at the moment. So, and it's, cost of living crisis and housing crisis and everything's getting expensive. We're just trying to save everyone a little bit of money.
So from the 3 different models, from the done for you, done with you, done by you, if somebody wanted to come to you and say, hey, I want to do it all myself, done by you, it's equivalent to saying, okay, I want to list on this website and this website. Let's call those two realestate.com.au and domain.com.au because they're the most popular.
Yeah.
They also want to list on Meta, which is Instagram and Facebook together.
Yeah.
Do you have a package where somebody could just do it themselves and they know how to use their mobile phone as a camera and they know that they need to switch the lights on before taking a photo? Do you have a model for them to just do it themselves and go, yep, list?
Not at the moment, not for our first stage launch anyway. It is in the pipeline, but we're trying to make it simple as possible. If people want to do that, they can go to For Sale by Owner or they can go to Property Now and they can spend $900 and do that. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to give the whole package of people that don't really know what they're doing, but also they want to be in control of it themselves. So we're going to have the standard package, which will come with the AI enhancements. It will come with the AI assistance, but then you can also say, well, I want a 3D tour, I want a floor plan, I want professional photography, I want professional valuation. So you can have these add-ons if you want to, or you can just go through our basic package, which gives you everything, but you do it yourself. So you take your own photos, you can sketch a floor plan, and we can turn that into a floor plan for you. Those sorts of things.
So let me ask you in terms of what's in it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a buyer's agent. I cater for customers who are on the East Coast. 80% of the people that come through my business are couples. They have been married for at least 5 years. They graduated from uni 5 years ago. They've been in their same respective industry working full time for at least 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Basically because the bank says yes to people who have the stable romance, stable education, stable income. So for somebody like that, they're busy. They might be accountants, they might be pharmacists, they might be in real estate. No, they won't be in real estate because they'll probably do it themselves. But they'll be accountants, doctors, lawyers. If they're in the professional industries, they're too busy to do most of the stuff themselves. And so they come to you because you cover the conveyancing, you cover the contracting, you cover the transfer, and you cover the listing. So that means from a compliance point of view, in New South Wales, in Queensland, and Victoria, you tick the boxes. So they tell you where they are, where the property is. They tell you what their reserve price is, which means they won't accept anything below that amount. And they tell you, hey, we'd like to get something above this.
Yeah.
But in a compliance point of view, you're not allowed to advertise a random number. You have to be usually within 10%.
Yeah.
So from your team, you guys already know that. Whereas somebody who's a chiropractor knows everything about the body, might not know what they are allowed or not allowed to do on domain. So they don't need to research and spend a weekend at this course and another weekend at that course and then another week at this one and then 3 more weeks at this one, and then you get the idea. Because the reality is that the more somebody spends away from their passion, and it could be a passion project of doing a new app like you guys are doing, they're taking away 6 months or a year before their launch date.
Yeah.
That to us might be, what's a week, what's a month? At least in property in the eastern suburbs, we've seen an increase of 10% in a 1 year period.
Yeah.
We've seen more during COVID, but hopefully that'll never happen again. But if you're thinking of a $5 million product and it increases 10%, 10% of 5 million in any maths is 500,000. That's a $500,000 loss by procrastinating. So you've made it easier for somebody to be busy but not procrastinate. To say, hey, this is the cap. We're not going to sell below this amount. We're not going to buy above this amount.
Yeah.
And either way of those caps, they come to you and they do it now rather than waiting for all the prices to go up.
Yeah.
How does that work from a buying perspective? I know that you're specializing in selling.
Yeah.
What's in it for me? How do I get somebody who wants to buy now? How can I approach you guys to find somebody who's willing to sell but isn't going through an agency?
Yeah, of course. So it's a great question. So, excuse me. We're partnering with a lot of buyers agencies. To list a property online, you have to have your contract of sale. We normally take between 7 to 10 days to get everything up and compliance ready. So during those 7 to 10 days, we will actually put that off-market property out to all of our potential buyers agencies. So if that property was to be snapped up off market, everybody wins. It's fantastic. But when it comes to the actual platform itself, the buyers, they would find the property through realestate.com.au or Domain, whatever the national portal they find it from. They would log into the Wavie portal and they can actually start talking to the seller directly through the portal and create offers, send offers, revoke offers, and do it all themselves through that portal as well. So it makes it quite simple for the buyer side.
Is it only once the contract is finished, so once you have your 10.7 certificate or whatever certificates you're waiting on, or can you do that initially?
You can do that initially, yeah. So the buyer can log into the platform. We open homes and things like that, for instance, that's one of our challenging moments. People that are trying to do things themselves, they don't want to negotiate themselves, and they don't want to stand there and take a load of questions from a load of strangers. So again, it's the same. It's all about how we educate our buyers and our sellers, and through the platform, we're making it as simple as possible. We've got walkthrough videos for each section when you're just creating your listing, and also when you're buying. Plus with the Wavie AI that we have incorporated in it, that will also pop up with reasons we do things the way we do them, and to educate the buyers and the sellers.
So from a speed perspective, you said instead of waiting 7 to 10 days, you can get it uploaded faster, which means your first phone call from a serious buyer might be faster. And I realise that you're just launching now, and congratulations on your crowdfunding. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I work in Fishburners. We have 200 companies, so I see a lot of companies scaling and crowdfunding, and you guys have smashed it. So well done.
Yeah, thank you.
So from a time perspective, considering you're brand new, what's been your record so far from hypothetical I'd like to at this price to it's live?
Sorry.
Have you had a live sample go through?
Oh,
yet
not
you've
yet.
sold it?
No, we haven't had the live sample go through.
So if you're ready to be the first,
Yeah,
Andy's the guy to
absolutely.
contact, and the details will be underneath. So have a look at the LinkedIn link, and underneath we'll put a link of how to get straight through to Wavie.
Yep.
And the idea is, if you can move things just that little bit faster, especially if you're selling your house so that you can move into your next property, or selling your unit to move into a house, if you're ready to make the upgrade, or moving from inland Sydney, Western Sydney, down to the beaches, to the east side, now's the time, because as that market moves up, you want to sell and buy in the same market.
Yeah.
The longer you wait, the bigger the differential between, say, the eastern suburbs and Western Sydney. The longer you wait, the more it costs you. So if you are ready to take the plunge and do it legally and compliant within New South Wales and at the moment Victoria as well?
It will. At the moment, we're launching in New South Wales of our soft launch,
Yep.
but it will be nationwide.
Excellent. So soft launch for New South Wales. And what date, Andy, is the soft launch at the moment?
At
I
the
know this can
moment,
change,
we're
but at the moment,
mid-February.
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 So 2 months from now,
Yeah.
if you're watching this live, or if you're tracking back, mid-February in 2024.
That's it.
Fantastic. Now, can I ask you a tough question?
Of course.
Why do you think your system will succeed where a previous system 5 years ago, and I know we didn't have AI, we didn't have, especially PEXA. If you're new to the property market, all the types of contracts were done on a piece of paper, and the piece of paper was handed over until a few years ago. PEXA has digitized the conveyancing, the transfer between the old owner and the new owner. So now that that's come in, that's completely changed part of it. But I know another company, also from outside of Australia, came to Australia with an idea. Is it okay to mention their name?
I think, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Purple Bricks.
Yeah.
So
I think
Purple Bricks.
it's a question I get asked pretty much most days.
So Purple Bricks came to Australia with the idea of, hey, let's, instead of paying 50,000 commission to your agent, flat fee 6,000, 7,000, sell it yourself, keep more of the cake for yourself. It didn't work in Australia. Why didn't it work? Why did it work in the UK? Why did it not work in Australia? And how are you different?
It's, again, a great question. So Purple Bricks are, if anyone doesn't know, still the biggest agency in the UK. So the UK market is very different to Australia, whereas a real estate agent in the UK will just get a salary. They might get a little bonus at the end of the year, or they might get a bonus per house they sell, but it's very, very insignificant with compared to Australian real estate agents, where they will get a big sum of that commission. So what Purple Bricks did, they were very successful in the UK, still are. They came over to here, they spent at least 7 figures in advertising. I think it was close to 100 million in the end. I think it was close to 9 figures.
Wow.
They refused to pivot, but what they did is they recruited, they say they don't use agent, or they're not an agent. However, they use real estate agents still. So in Australia, what they did is they would say, okay, this is your flat fee model. We will give you a dedicated real estate agent to work with you on your property. They would hire all these real estate agents on a subcontract basis. They wouldn't do any vetting, but then there was no commission involved. So there was no what's the word I'm looking for? No incentive for the agent. And Purple Bricks just refused to pivot at that point. Their model works in the UK, it will work here. And it obviously wouldn't work because of the way that real estate agents are paid. So that's why it didn't work here. There's obviously other models, the for sale by owner models. There's plenty of them around. What they do differently is they've been around forever, and they probably still will be. All they do is advertise for you, and you're kind of left on your own. That's why they're a lot cheaper. That's why you don't really see that they don't advertise too much, because they don't make much of a markup on the product that they're selling. They're just selling one kind of product, really. Whereas what we do is we bring everything together, and we're the first of its kind. I think if I tried to do this 4 years ago, it probably wouldn't have worked. It would just been the same as a for sale by owner model. But with the advancements of AI and machine learning, I think if we don't do it, somebody else will. And we're just very fortunate that I started this just before AI became prominent, and we're that far advanced of others that hopefully we'll be the first to market. And I'm sure there's people out there at the moment that are working on it, because it's only a matter of time.
What I love about Wavie is that when you look at the for sale by owner model, the biggest challenge that I, as a buyer's agent, I approach every for sale by owner. So I actually actively look in an area. Let's say we're looking in Port Macquarie. Port Macquarie Hastings is a very large area, but one of the southern parts of it, or southwest, would be Wauchope. So there might be 7 listings in Wauchope with the for sale by owner, or sell your own house, or any iteration that means the same thing.
Yeah.
I approach all of them, and I get the most interesting stories that have nothing to do with reality out of the homeowners that have some sort of expectation that was fed to them by somebody who's not a professional in real estate. So the biggest challenge is that there isn't a coherence between what somebody's expecting because they heard in the pub that their house is worth 3 million to the actual market reality of everybody else within your size of land with your kind of house of that age is selling for 2.2. You're not talking a 5% difference or a 10. There's sometimes a 50% difference, and the owners are just not willing to budge because somebody at the pub told them, it's usually somebody with 3 teeth, told them, hey, my grandmother's uncle's dog's brother once had an owner who, and it's a mixture of the history of the memory of architecture and something that they saw on Facebook.
Yeah.
So you know how you get those filters where it makes your face look special? You could do that with a house.
Yeah.
And people see it through rose-coloured glasses.
Yeah.
How does Wavie make sure that there's a coherence between what the market really is and the vendor's perhaps unrealistic expectation is?
Again, it's all about education. We will give as much information as we can on, local property sales, the current estimated valuations. There's always a real estate expert at hand to talk to people as well if they need to. So it's not like they're just left on their own. So it's just about managing those expectations, us as a company, and educating people that this is, of all the data that we have, this is where we got this data from. This is how this data works, and this is why we think this is the right bracket for you. And then we're going to be transparent with the pricing. So the price is on the listing. We want everything to be transparent.
So for example, you might have 5 different, and you mentioned this before with freemium, there might be 5 different options on a standard. There might be the standard, just get it listed. Then you might get professional photography. Then you might get 3-dimensional videography that shows room by room with a rotating axis. Then you might go through and push up the ad into a higher bracket within Domain or realestate.com.au. Is there also an option to do TikTok, X, Threads, and all the other sub or social parts of?
Yeah, so we're mostly focusing on Meta at the moment. So each package comes with a certain amount of social media targeting, AI targeting, social media targeting. But we are looking at TikTok especially, is getting quite big now with the older generation. So we are looking at that to incorporate as well.
Something that maybe isn't as obvious to somebody who's only bought 2 properties in their life. If a real estate agent is selling a property, they can't, when you're walking through the open house, they can't talk about the other property that competes with this one, because they're really cannibalizing the sale from that owner who they're representing. With Wavie, it's fully digital, which means that you're not obliged to say or not say something. It's really when somebody looks up an address, they're either looking or they're not looking.
Yeah.
So you're going to be more transparent than a real estate agent that perhaps has something that might be competing with that product.
Exactly.
From the flip side though, if I'm an agent and I'm running 5 open houses and I'm face to face with somebody who's walking through, I'm asking them for their driver's license, their phone number, their email address, whatever they're willing to give me. But that means after I've sold that one property, I retarget or remarket to the same people that went through the open house for the house that successfully sold other properties. Does Wavie have the option of retargeting once somebody, let's say you have 3 new customers on your first launch day, and because of your speed to create, 2 of them have sold. So now the leads that came through to the 2, do you have the ability to retarget using cookies or using tile
Absolutely.
or pixel or whatever?
Absolutely. So
Tell me about that.
So again, open homes. We'll still be running open homes. It won't all be virtual. But again, it's about education. So for a buyer, for instance, they would have to register on the Wavie platform and register for that open home to be able to get the details of that open home, when it's going to be, the time, the place. From that point on, they can turn up and scan the QR code to say they've been there. If they haven't, we've still got the details where they've signed up for that open home, which means they're interested in that property. So we can still target them that way. And when it comes to asking questions about the property, again, the vendors aren't going to want to stand there and answer questions. So again, it's about educating this is the Wavie way. We've got all of our building and pest reports, strata reports are all done prior, so they're all available as soon as the properties are launched on the platform.
As an optional extra for the vendor, or is
we're including it in all of our packages.
So you must have a.
They don't have it. We include it in our packages.
Okay,
so the building report, because 95%.
There's no opt out.
You can opt out if you want, I think, at the moment, but we're trying to push, because again, the transparency. 95% of the answers, the questions agents get asked, can be found in those reports.
True.
So it's about having those reports available to the potential buyers from the offset, and any questions go through the platform. The platform will automatically answer those questions if it's from information we already have from the building report, pest report, whatever it may be. Anything else will then get redirected to the vendor on the platform rather than face to face, just to get rid of that awkwardness. If the vendor wants to say, "Hey, I'm happy to have my phone number," they can do that off platform, no problem at all. But we're just trying to make it easy for everybody, because there's going to be people that don't want to do that. It's going to be there's going to be people that would love to do it.
So, being one of your buyer's agents, if I let's say you have 300 people listing, I'd like to be on your database to receive, before it goes to the live market, an idea of how much, where it is, and the first photos, because when I have a client, they're already bank approved, they know exactly what they're after. It might be an investment, so 50% are investors and 50% are PPRs, meaning that they're going to live in it as their primary place of residence. So how quickly do I get the email from you to say, this has just been added to our portal? So
you can, as a buyer's agent or as a partner, you can choose. You could have an email every time one goes live, or you can have a daily summary of everything that's come on, and when it's expected to go live on the website. So it's off market for a certain amount of time. You've got maybe 7 days to go. Actually, I've got a couple of people that might want this. I'll give them 7 days to do it. Or you go, well, this app is going to be live in 5 days. Let's push this a little bit quicker.
Right.
Yeah.
So that gives me, say, a 5-day head start on the rest of the market.
Yeah.
Currently, there's only 4,200 buyers agents out of 67,000 selling agents. Are you catering more towards buyers agents, more towards selling agents, or 50-50?
More towards buyers agents. Yeah.
Fantastic. See, that's why I like Andy.
Much more towards the buyers agents.
It's brilliant, because one of the fears of somebody opening their house is you're going to have 100 strangers go through. If you offer the ability to do visual cataloguing, so that somebody could do a virtual walkthrough rather than physically going into a stranger's house, it takes away some of the fear.
It does.
It also means that a buyer's agent has more experience in knowing what questions to ask. So if part of the house is built from asbestos, or if it might have termite damage, it doesn't necessarily stop the purchase. It just means, well, let's quantify it, and from the building inspection that you're doing already as part of your package, I already know that I can tell my buying, usually couples, I can tell the couple that are buying that it'll be $5,000 to $7,500 to repair the wall that had termite damage, because the termites are gone. It's only the remnants of. It's not live, and the builder would change the structure that needs to be changed. So then we can quantify it and give real numbers.
Yeah.
Does that help also with estimates when getting a plumber, electrician, carpenter, tiler, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And who do you use one consistent company to do the building, pest and asbestos inspection, or is it regionally dependent?
No, so at the moment, so again, we've partnered with conveyancing.com.au, which is a deep blue company.
Yep.
They also own rapid building inspections, which covers 97, I think it is, % of the country. So again, we work really well in partnership with them, because they can help us provide with the conveyancing, with the building inspections. We've got a couple of other partnerships in the pipeline for other building reports and things, so we just have to watch the space on that one.
And Andy, I know your background is in surveying. One of the biggest first questions is, how big is the land?
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody is selling a property, do you include a survey report as part of the package?
Yeah. Where did I start?
Surveying reports. Do you include a surveying report?
We don't include surveying reports as standard. It is something we are thinking of offering, but we do have the DPs available if requested. But we do also have from all of the data. So when somebody comes to list their property, they'll start typing their address. From all of the data points that we have, it will automatically bring up the land size, the house size, the bedrooms, the bathrooms. You can change that if it's slightly, because we know data can be wrong sometimes. But yeah, we will have most of that available.
So from a DP, that's if that particular parcel of land has been recently surveyed.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be an ident.
Yep.
Or it might be something that was subdivided recently.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're rural and they don't have it, who would you use to do the surveying? Say in New South Wales, of course, because we're launching in New South Wales first.
It's not something we've been looking at too much, to be honest, especially for the minimal viable product that we're launching. Something we'll probably look at in the future. We do have, I have a lot of connections in the surveying industry, so certainly won't be an issue finding someone to do that for us.
Wonderful. So if we can get the survey, the contract, the asbestos report,
mm-hmm.
the building inspection and the pest inspection, then the only other thing really is the condition of the house itself. And then it might be a cosmetic repair, it might be no repair needed, it might be turnkey. So really it's a so much more transparent option.
Yeah.
So why would somebody pay, like if they've got they paid for an app or a subscription somewhere else, should they now cancel their RP data, cancel their, whatever the spruiker has sold them, the $2,000 product, and just rely on you said PropTech?
Mm-hmm.
Your property tech data.
Mm-hmm.
Can they rely just on your data rather than paying different subscriptions with different owners?
Well, I mean, we're paying those subscription fees anyway. So I suppose it depends on the person and what they're using that data for. If they spend $2,000 on all these courses and
that's
paying
just one.
on the one
each.
course, yeah, sorry, and they're paying these subscription fees to get all this data. If that's just to purchase one property or two properties, then no, it's definitely not worth the money.
No.
You go to your buyer's agent who is already paying for all that data anyway and can give you that data for free.
That's true, and also at least half of that data is free on the internet.
Exactly.
Anyway. But you're right, if you're buying in a suburb or selling in a suburb, the buyer's agent who's buying for you or the selling agent will give you those reports free of charge.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are just, the spruiker on stage is very
Yeah.
good at selling. They're
Yeah.
good at standing up and saying, buy this, buy this, buy this, without getting a house.
Yeah.
So you're wasting your time and your money. So if they, let's say you've got 9 months left of your subscription and they can somehow refund the last 9 months, what type of is there an ongoing monthly cost to use you, or is it one property,
No.
one fee?
Yeah, no, it's just if you're selling your property, it's one fee. For the buyers, there's no fee at all. The buyer, there's no fees for the buyers. They can go on the platform and look around and sign up and go to open homes, make offers, whatever you want to do, completely free of charge. They'll get the data to all those properties, just like you would on REA.
Suburb data as well?
Yeah.
So instead of paying, so this is why a year ago we moved across from, as a buyer's agency, we're the only ones in Australia that charge zero commission. Why? Because a lot of the stuff should be free. If you're serious about buying a property, don't pay for the fees. Don't fly out and spend a weekend on the Gold Coast or a weekend in Melbourne and pay the speaker to subscribe to their app. Those apps should be free. The internet gives you that stuff for free. You're wasting your money. Save more of a deposit on your house. and use Andy from Wavie. How's that for a wrap up?
Perfect. Love it.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Andy, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Really appreciate
I look forward
it.
to working together over the
absolutely.
next 3 months.
Well, we're in the same office now, so.
This is going to be an absolute brilliant summer.
Excellent.
And I say that because, you know, we're in just the beginning of December now, and I can see now the sky is blue, the sun is rising, and we're going to do some massive numbers. Australian property is really coming back.
It really is.
We've been holding our breath for a long time. And what happens when there's supply and demand, when people are cautious, and it could be because of global warfare, it could be because of something happening overseas, it could be because of a pandemic, it could be just they're not sure about the jobs data, or they're not sure where the interest rate will stop. We've come to a stage now where next year and the year after are becoming a lot more predictable than 2020, 2021. So 2024, all the people that have been holding their breath, it's like going on a diet. What do you do as soon as you've hit your ideal weight? You allow yourself to eat again. And I think that's the same with people that have been holding their breath. If you hold your breath for 60 seconds, the first breath in is going to be a massive gasp for air. So I see that happening in 2024.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you again, and have a look at the comments below. You'll see the connection, how to get through to Wavie, how to ask questions, and there's a few YouTubes that I've been watching.
Yeah.
There's a few YouTubes, there's a few videos that explain things in more detail.
Yeah.
But feel free to reach out to me or to Andy, and